Now, you're probably wondering why I have this delicious pie in my hand. Well, it's not just to eat, it's also a representation of how important it is to understand your own power. First of all, the willpower it's taking me right now not to eat this pie, but ultimately, we're going to talk about what I call the pies. When we talk about power, there's different layers and levels of power that we have as human beings to access. And as athletes, what we do is sometimes we focus only on the physical. We only focus on training and working out off the ice, and we work out with our choreographer or our stick handling guy or whatever. And we think it's only about the physical. Well, the first P or the first part of the pie we're going to focus on when it comes to power is the physical. You're here to train your physical body. But that means you're training your physiology, your neurology, your central nervous system, your eye gaze, many things, your auditory system, your kinesthetic system. These are all part of your P, your physical in your pie. So we talk about physical power, that's what we're referencing. The next part of the pie is your intellectual power. And many people call this your mental toughness. When it comes to your intellect, it's really important that you bring your mental focus to each and every session, whether it's on or off the ice. So the I in the pie is your intellect, your mental toughness, or your mental focus. When I talk about mental toughness, I'm not talking about you have little, a barbell in your head and you're lifting it up and up. No, it's your ability to focus and train through repetition your desired outcome. And what that means is when you set an intention and you want to get a goal, you're setting it through your intellect. What do I want to do? Am I specific? Am I clear on my outcome? I want to get faster by this much. I want to get stronger by this much. We gauge it. So that's the I in the pie. So we have the P is the physical, the I is the intellect or the mental toughness and focus. The next one is E. Now, this one's always a surprise for people. It's like, why is the E? Why does that mean emotional? Well, it could mean anything you want it to mean. It could mean energy. But for the pies in this regard, it means your emotional power. It's like your physical power is there, your intellectual power, your mental commitment, now your emotional power. Because truthfully, do you love the game? Yes. Do you love your sport? Yes. Do you hate to lose? Yes. Those are emotions. So we have access to that kind of emotional energy every time we train or play the game. If you don't bring your emotional energy, your positivity to every training session, it can really be a drag. Think about it. It's like not being able to eat that pie. I'm really upset about that. It brought me down. So when you bring your positive energy and your positive intention and you want an outcome, time just flies. If you are thinking something's boring, it's going to drag out. Funny story. When I'm on the ice or when the instructors are out there with you, we can see when you're getting tired. Oh my gosh. It's hard. When you're training your power, you have to distinguish between power and force. If you're forcefully skating down the ice, it's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It's emotionally draining. And physically, it just shreds you. But if you're enjoying yourself and you're bringing that emotional energy, it's so much more fun. So that's your pure power that you're bringing. So your power is connected to your emotional energy. So you're not forcing yourself. Here's the funny story. We'd get to the end of a session many times and the people would just be shredded, so tired, dripping with sweat. You can just see they gave everything they could to the session and they're done. And then all of a sudden, I'll grab a bunch of pucks and throw them on the ice and go, scrimmage! And everybody jumps up and starts playing a game. So here's my question. Where did the tired go? Where did the physical exhaustion go? Where did that mental tiredness go? Hey, it got accessed by the emotional excitement and energy by scrimmaging, doing what you love to do. It's like how sometimes maybe in math class or social, depending on, your favorites or your least favorites, it can feel like the course goes on forever and ever and ever. And sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, that went by so fast. I had so much fun. That's your power of emotionality. So enjoy that. The last one in the S in the pies is social energy. Sport and life is shared. We share a social experience when it comes to sport. That's the beauty of a team sport. Even with individual sports like tennis or figure skating, they're team sports as well, because being the athlete in the center of your world allows you to bring the people into your world that support you. So not only are you out on the ice when you're training, you're skating by yourself as an individual, you're also there with a bunch of other people that are as committed as you are to their speed or to their outcome. So there's a social energy that you can tap into every single time you're on the ice or in the gym, or you're looking around you and you're seeing people of like mind. That's the power of team and the power of community. So let's just recap. P is your physical power, your ability to train, to focus on what it is that you want to get out. You want to get faster, and you can't skate faster just by skating faster. You have to understand what part of your physiology and your physical body are working at that time. The second one is your intellectual power, deciding. Here's where you're going to commit and decide and choose to understand that you can skate with power and you don't have to be forceful in your movements. Number 3 is your emotional excitement or your emotional energy that you bring to every single session. Sometimes when I'm not feeling it and I don't want to do a seminar, or I don't want to do a session or a speaking gig or a podcast or something, I have to generate that emotional excitement because I'm more committed to you getting what you want out of this program than me being, tired or being bored or jet lagged or something. So that emotional excitement or emotional energy is your responsibility, and you can generate it. These programs are short, 45 minutes, an hour, maybe an hour and a half at most. Give yourself that time so that your emotional energy allows to kick in when you're tired. Think about this. If you're physically shredded, let's say that it's the end of a game or you're 3 overtimes in a playoff, you're exhausted physically. You go to the dressing room, the coach gives you a chalk talk, activates the intellect. Okay, well, let's dial down the physical. Let's be a little smarter. Let's play some systems. That's the intellect energy that can kick in. And then that will eventually wane. But what won't wane is your love of the game, your commitment to your teammates, the commitment to the outcome. That's the emotional energy will kick in. And that's when the fans become part of your S, your social energy. So not just your team, your teammates, your coaches, your parents, all your people around you, the fans and the media and the bigger community become a part of your S. So in order to access all of your power when you're skating, when you're training, remember your pies, your physical, intellectual, emotional, and social energy. Have a great one. Hey parents, this tip is for you. When we talk about power, we want to distinguish the difference between power and force. You can force your child to go to power skating, or you can empower them to become better at what they do. Same thing happens on the ice for them. If you see them forcing their movements, because when you force something, you're not really into it. You're not really using all of your power in order to accelerate or order to go faster. Think about forcing the stick. When they hang onto the stick too tight, they can't handle the puck. Think of using force, for example, in resistance training. That's perfect. But what we're talking about here is allowing you to support and empower your child, your champion athlete, to become the best that they can be. How do you do that? How can you empower your child to become the best? Well, the first thing you can do is really step into supporting them in their emotional excitement or emotional energy when it comes to training. Training can be a drag because it's repetitive. And I always say you don't get these training years back. If your child's 11, they're going to be 11 for 1 year, and then they're moving on. They're going to be 12, and then they're going to, next thing you know, they're going to be 16, and then they're going to be 19, and you're going to go, where did that time go? And the coaches are go, well, didn't the U15 coach teach them that? Well, no, didn't the U12 coach? No. Well, now they get to junior, and you're looking at all of this time that you spend either running around or criticizing or checking in or chasing posters, finding the cheapest power skating, finding the most expensive power skating, whatever that is. Your job in this case is to surround your child with the people that are as committed to their success as you are. That's called the champion's journey. That's called the circle of support. So for you as parents to empower your child, your athlete, to become the best they can be, check in on how they're doing emotionally. If they're not having fun, or if you're having to force them to get there, that's feedback. Find a way. Reach out, ask questions, see how they're doing. And here's the next pro tip. On the way home, remember, that's your time with your child. When you're talking about empowerment or power, Understand that they physically have given them all they can. If you're up there and you're cheering and yelling and encouraging, that's different. Or if you're just sitting there and you've got this really stern look on your face and you know that you're going to coach and tell them what they did wrong in the car, that isn't empowering at all. So take the moment, take that time, let them chillax in the car, because excellence happens in states of deep, deep relaxation. And when we're working hard on the ice and we're training power, not force, we're training power, there really is a physical, intellectual, emotional, and a social exertion that happens. So when they come into the car, this is where you give them a chance to put their earbuds in, get them to slow their energy down, get them to breathe. And then maybe when you're halfway home, see if they want a snack or if they want to talk about it or they want to share what they learned today. So for you parents, you become such an important part of their power team.